This is Paw Print, an animal rescue community. Episode 146. I'm Nancy Rhee.
And I'm Harold Rhee.
Today's guest is Sherri Franklin of Muttville Senior Dog Rescue.
We're super excited to bring you Sherri Franklin today. She was a 2016 CNN hero, and she's the founder of Muttville Senior Dog Rescue here in San Francisco. We got a chance to see her at a local event called the Rescue Think Tank, co-sponsored by the San Francisco SPCA and Marin Humane. Thanks to Francis Ho and Kyle Dunlap for putting this great event together. Sherri talks quite a bit about her beginnings with Muttville and how over time it's really grown into a nationally renowned organization focused on senior dogs. If you'd like to watch a Facebook Live video of Sherri's talk, you can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/thisIsPawPrint. If you'd like to learn more about Muttville Senior Dog Rescue, you can go to muttville.org or go to our show notes, thisIsPawPrint.com/146. Here's Sherri.
I'm Sherri Franklin, and I'm the founder and CEO of Muttville Senior Dog Rescue, and we're right next door. And I wanted to also offer up a tour of Muttville if you would like to come over and visit during our lunch break. I'm happy to show you what we've done with our space that the SPCA rents to us. Very, very lucky to have that space. Thank God, because it was in my house. We just had our 10-year anniversary, and basically I started out a lot like a lot of you probably have if you're in rescue. I started out taking dogs home one at a time as a volunteer. Just they gave me dogs. Here, take that dog because it's old and it won't get adopted here. Decided to start a 501c3. Went through a lot of jumped through a lot of hoops. I don't think it's as easy as she thinks it was. But I actually I'm a hairstylist by trade, so I asked one of my clients, who is an attorney, if her, I ask all the time, you guys. That's, I think, the secret to how I've gotten this far is basically, I'm not afraid to ask, and I ask for everything and anything, any help I can get. And I just let people know that, I give them a lot of thanks and hopefully reward them well, so they say yes again. I left a lot of time for questions because I have a feeling that I didn't really plan because I wasn't sure who was going to be in the audience. So I have tidbits of all different kinds of things. Number one, for people that are still working on their boards, my recommendation is have your board made up of professionals in other fields. Do not have your board made up of people that are also running the rescue or the organization, because you're going to find that you're going to really limit yourself. So pick attorneys and pick CEOs of other kinds of companies, or for your treasurer. We have a few lawyers on our board, which is really wonderful. So they read all of our contracts, but they are not staff. They're not volunteers. They're actually board members are volunteers, but they're a separate kind of volunteer. And I highly recommend not having your partner in crime and rescue be on your board. Have them be your partner in the rescue part, but not as a board member. It's really saved a lot of headaches for me. When Muttville started, it was out of my house for 5 years. And into 4 years, I did not get paid, which is, I don't think, right. But that's the way it is when you first start. A lot of times you don't get, it's your passion that keeps you going. So you're getting paid, you're just not getting any money. At about the 4th year, we finally hired a staff person, and then I started getting paid, and the staff person started getting paid, and she was part-time. That was 4 years in. The first year of Muttville, we rescued 27 dogs. Now this year we will rescue over 1,000 a year, probably about 1,050 in this year. We hit our 5,000th dog last month, which was really exciting. We only rescue dogs 7 years and older. So the reason I started it was that I saw a lot of senior dogs, as many of you probably have, alone in shelters and then getting euthanized, or worse yet, just sitting in shelters year after year and not getting adopted. So I started taking them home one at a time, and when I did start Muttville, the first year, I didn't know that we would make it to a second year. I had no idea if we would be successful or not. So I was not organized. My filing system was putting things in boxes just like I do with my normal life. So I don't recommend that. Actually, if you start out with a database or, at least an Excel spreadsheet, that's the best way to go. So I don't know where everybody is in their world of their nonprofit. So I'm just, from the very beginning, just start out with a little more organization, or you have to backtrack quite a bit. I started out 4 years ago when I hired my first staff person part-time. She went full-time within 6 months. We have 18 staff now. We have a full-time veterinarian on staff, two full-time vet techs on staff. We actually had to, once we moved from my house, we have kennel staff. We have a volunteer and foster coordinator there, one position, though it could actually at this point be split off. Even though Muttville has moved into a shelter, we call that transitional housing. We are still foster-based. I believe that is the wave of the future. I do not believe that large kenneling facilities are the wave of the future. I really see it moving into a much kinder, gentler place for homeless animals. Our foster base is around 100 families. About 50 of them are active at any given time, so we usually have 50 to 65 foster homes taking in dogs all the time. And then when something like this fire that comes up, we call on all of our foster families and through social media, and then we'll end up with 100 foster homes that are all willing to jump in when there is a disaster or catastrophe. And I just highly recommend social media for getting the word out. Friends of friends. We put flyers up all over in all the neighborhoods with a picture of a dog and little tear-offs saying, come foster or adopt it, and it's a cute little dog. And every time I go by, they're empty again. So they're obviously working. So put them in veterinary clinics, put them on posts, put them at any place you see a cork board in a coffee house or, any market, Rainbow Market, we put ours in. And so we get a lot of requests for foster homes. And if you guys, we have a foster agreement, it's a one-pager. We also have an adoption agreement that's a one-pager, and a volunteer agreement that's a one-pager. If you guys ever want any of those, we can share those with you too. Though I did pick up some new tips that I need to add to mine. You never stop learning, right? So most of our staffing, just so you know, has come from people that have started out as volunteers at Muttville. Yes?
Can I ask what the first role you hired was?
An assistant, an administrative assistant. So, because I'm really not that person that's organized. My main thing that I like to tell everybody is don't be afraid to ask. We ask for everything. We ask veterinarians for their help. We ask them for discounts. We ask people to donate leashes and collars, and we put it on our Facebook page, and then we did pill pockets, and we have enough to last like 2 years now. But it's so important because people really want to help you, and people want to feel good because they're helping you, so ask. So I don't know if you guys want to open it up to some questions and go that way, because I've got like a lot of things that I could talk about, but it seems like maybe you might have some questions for me? Yes.
Would you say that the brick and mortar establishment opened up other opportunities for you?
Yes. So Muttville is still foster-based. We use that space as transitional housing. So it doesn't have to be a huge space. We assess our dogs there, then we send them to foster homes. Unless there are really great foster homes, and we can just send them directly to a foster home, which is what I used to do, was just automatically I knew the foster homes. It doesn't need to be a shelter necessarily. When we were first starting and we hardly had any of the space sort of built out for dogs, we just had a space for people to come. It saved me. I mean, we were still doing 300 and 400 animals a year out of my house. So, you know, it still worked, but it was a lot of pressure to put on one person. So, if you can have it, or if you can, I mean, you have to man it, so then you automatically are gonna have, we have a $3.1 million a year budget right now. And some of that's because we're in San Francisco, so if you're outside of San Francisco, it might not be that expensive.
What was your budget first year?
29,000, yeah, or some, maybe 20,000. I don't know. I didn't raise very much. I remember getting like a $500 check, and it was like, wow, I can pay down some of my bills, right? Because I had, you know, all the vets. Having a vet suite has been really helpful if you have senior dogs. I think if we had younger dogs, it wouldn't be as necessary, but we get dogs from, we probably work with a lot of you guys, but we work with some of the inland valley shelters that the dogs that arrive are not in great shape. And to have somebody there that can alleviate pain, can get them started on antibiotics, or even make that decision that they need to go to an emergency room, has made a huge difference. That dog that with the pyometra was a pug that arrived and was near death, and had we not had the vet there, we might have just started her on antibiotics or something. But they said right now, and I mean, we basically ran this dog to the SPCA, and she had emergency surgery and lived, and is living a great life now. But the vet has been really, really helpful for us. That was probably our biggest and most important step that we took. Any questions?
I have a logistical question about the foster-based model.
Sure.
If people come in to adopt a dog,
Mhm.
how do they meet the dogs that are in foster?
So we are on Saturdays and Sundays. Many of you already know we have Love a Senior Weekend. So we have all the fosters, not all the fosters, but maybe 50% of the fosters drop off their dogs at Muttville on the weekends. We also have empowered our foster families to finish an adoption off-site. So I don't know, I think Suzanne might be talking about open adoptions, but I did a conference and I spoke on just that. And our line is, if you can't move them out, you can't save another. So we are working on doing same-day adoptions. We do free adoption, fee waive adoptions. We still have everybody go through the same process. They fill out the same application. It's not like, oh, it's free today, here, take this dog. It's still, you still have to be approved, but we managed to, I think we all get so caught up in thinking that somebody's not gonna do the right thing, and instead we need to think that people are here, they want to adopt an animal, and give them a brownie point for filling out the application, or maybe for us wanting to adopt an old dog. Forget it. They've already like filled out an application to adopt an old dog. I mean, I should be able to approve them pretty quickly. So our foster homes can do adoptions off-site. We have same-day adoptions. We have fee waive. We do have special weekends where we do that. We've also grown our monthly donorship program by having people waive fees and sign up to be a monthly guardian. And that way we are getting more monthly through our guardianship program than we are getting on our adoption fees, but they become a part of our family. So you've got a larger family to go to if you need help. So.
Just piggybacking on that, so I have two questions. One, when do you have them drop off on the weekends, and kind of how do you set up, space for all the dogs
Sure.
for the weekend, and when do they pick up? And then my other question is, kind of at what point do you share the medical information about the dogs with people?
Such a good
So that
question.
you don't turn them off too soon, but that you're still providing
Yeah.
all the information so that they can make their best choice if they can take that on.
Right. That's a really good question, especially with old dogs. We are very transparent when we talk about health issues. That's why we have a vet, and I think that's why we get our seniors adopted. People will adopt a dog with a health issue, a known health issue. It's the unknown that really scares them away. So the fact that I can say we've done this 12-point, sort of like buying a car, I hate to say it, but you want to know what's under the hood. And though we can't make any guarantees, and none of us can, about what's even going on in our own bodies, if you have a blood test, and if you have a urinalysis, and if you have your ears and your eyes checked, you're going to get a baseline of what that health issue will be. And we're pretty transparent about that. We usually, if somebody comes to visit the dogs, we usually have them walk the dog, and then if they go, oh, can you tell me more? That's when we go in and we pull up the file and we go over all the vet notes with them.
But you don't have, like, on their pet finder profile, how much do you
We might
do,
put
or-
dog is blind, we might put a dog is diabetic, we might do some of those major things, but we don't go into every little detail, which is this dog has arthritis and it might have the beginning stages of kidney disease. We don't put that in our basic file. We put that in, or we tell that person. Yeah. Oh, and wait, you wanted?
Oh, the other was just about logistics on dropping off and picking up.
So you guys are all welcome to come next door. We're having an adoption event today, and Sundays are fairly slow, so it'll be exciting for our volunteers to see a bunch of people walk through. We like to have, if possible, the person drops off the dog in the morning, picks it up in later in the day between 4 and 7. But a lot of people drop their dog off on Friday night and stay to Sunday night, or drop it off Saturday morning and stay till Sunday night. If we know people are coming, like we have people that fill out applications online, most of yours probably do too, they fill out the application. If we know they're coming on Saturday and they want to meet Milo on Saturday, we make sure that foster family knows to drop that dog off.
2 questions. What's the area that your foster homes, are they mostly in San Francisco, or are they everywhere?
They're all over.
And do you do home visits for fosters or adopters?
We do home visits when we think it's necessary to do a home visit, but we don't always do a home visit. I have done when we first started, I did so many home visits, and it ended up taking 2 weeks to get the dog out to a new home while I had all these dogs that I was saying no to. And even when I did a home visit, that did not make that home the best home. In fact, I did a home visit, and 3 weeks later, the dogs were out, and I thought, what a great home, family, yard, everything. The dogs were let loose, and I had, put those dogs, basically taken them off the market to give, there were 2 dogs, to give to this family that had a great home, and then they let the dogs loose, and when I called them, they said, oh, well, we don't want either one of them. So a home visit doesn't necessarily mean anything. If I feel like there's a red flag, I can always say, we need to see your home, we need to come visit your apartment or your house. And I do that with seniors sometimes, and they appreciate it. So sometimes I might just do it because I want to help a senior set up their home properly. But I don't always do it.
Could you talk a little bit about your decision to do paid staff? Because we sometimes think we're more attractive to volunteers or to donors because we're all volunteer.
Yeah.
But
It's not scalable. It is not scalable. It is absolutely, I love my volunteers. We have over 500 volunteers. We probably have about 250 that come through Muttville every day, every week, not every day. But volunteers are great, but you cannot ask a volunteer to do things that maybe they don't want to do. And we need a lot of stuff done that's not so much fun. We have manuals in place. We have all those things that really take, not a volunteer, but take a staff person that's there every day. We have weekly meetings. We go through all the dogs every week. And how are you going to have a volunteers that are going to be able to come every week at this time to do this? So I don't think we would still be running out of my house, because we wouldn't be able to get up at 6 a.m. and feed dogs without paying somebody to do that Monday through Friday. 7 days a week. So it's not as attractive as you think. And actually, we've learned that most of this staff will go under programs. It's not going to be under fundraising. Most of the staff goes under programs which have to do with dogs. So it still is, if you really look at it from a funding perspective, they want to see that you have the capability to grow or to stay the same. And if most of your staffing is going to programs, that still looks very appealing to them.
Sherri, is it your paid staff that stays overnight?
We actually are closed from 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. till 7 a.m. So we do not have staff overnight. Do you guys? No. Do you have staff overnight?
No. We don't have a building.
Oh.
It's just foster days.
Yeah.
I actually opened up a doggy daycare so that I could have dogs there, my foster dogs there, because I did start out in my home as well.
Yeah. There you go.
And so 1 or 2 at a time, then it became 3 or 4 at a time, and then I got a wild hair and opened up a doggy daycare boarding, and now I have 30. So.
Yeah, well, and that's also a way to pay for,
So my employees are,
Yeah.
I have staff, but
Yeah.
they're my employees for the doggy daycare.
Uh-huh.
But they, take care of the foster dogs as well.
It's lovely.
And it is nice to have a place. I have people recommend us all the time, so they'll just show up out of the blue and say, hey, I heard you have coon hounds. And they'll come in and we'll set up, meet and greets for them right on the spot. And it does make it really nice.
Yeah, I think having the space is great if you can wing it. San Francisco is so difficult because of the cost of rental space and where you can have it as well. But it has been very helpful for sure. We have movie nights and stuff. We have done some things with the dogs overnight.
That's cool.
Yeah. Questions?
What about your marketing?
We have great marketing, don't we?
Do you have somebody paid to do?
So we do now. Now, our marketing. First of all, you might see us on TV now and again. That we don't pay for any of that. That has all been done through one of our volunteers who sells commercial time, and she's hooked us into a deal so we get that time on Comcast for free. And then we have people like Jane, who did our video, do those 30-second spots for us. So that's part of our marketing. The other part is Marie, who also works at SFACC and maybe worked with you guys. I met Marie at my house the first year in, and we sat down on my floor. We drank a bottle of wine. She became one of my best friends and started doing marketing for us for free, and then I finally got to pay her. So now she's a contractor and she gets paid monthly for doing our marketing and our social media, which is so important.
So when you go on your website, you have the bios for the dogs?
Uh-huh.
Now, does one person write that, or?
There's a few
They seem
people.
to be very similar.
We have 5 or 6 people that do that. I used to do them all. I don't do them at all anymore. I thought mine were the best. No. But no, seriously, we do have some phrases that we like to use that really help sell a dog. So you might have a list. We have a list that we go, and then we can add other things. But we try and stay very positive with all of our marketing. We are not the ASPCA where they show all the sad things and make people cry. We really try and keep ours on success stories, and if it is negative, we try and put a positive spin at the end because they've ended up at Muttville and that's positive. I believe in positive marketing. Just do.
How how do you recruit your foster homes?
That's what, social media is really good for that. Now, I do no rescue off social media, and I recommend highly that nobody does rescue off social media because it just creates so much craziness, and pretty soon you've got like 1,000 tags a day. I don't know if any of you.
Yeah.
No, I don't do any. Actually, my tags go to a defunct email address now, so if you tag me, I won't even get it. But if I do see a dog I like, I will find the person that I can contact directly. I do not put it on Facebook. I don't get like 100 people following me that I'm taking this dog, because sometimes I don't even end up with the dog. The dog gets adopted, and then they're like, where did that dog go? We just gave you money for that dog, you know. And so we absolutely will not do any rescue off of social media. But social media is great when you need to ask for things, when you need foster homes, when you have a dog that is really cute or needs somebody very special. That's how I do it. This dog needs somebody really special. And you know, who doesn't think they're special? So things like that, I find is very helpful. Social media is really great for things like that. Also, like I said before, I pin up in vet offices, I pin up wherever I can, Foster's Needed or Come to Muttville. And we actually have a time where we have people come at the end of Sunday afternoon after our adoption events. So we might have 10 foster families show up on Sunday or Monday, and they all come and pick out the dogs that are left from the adoption event. And that way, those dogs have probably a week in a home before the next adoption event. So it's a really great way to sort of keep that streamlined, so you don't have like one person coming this day and that night and waiting at home. How many times have you waited at home for a foster family to show up and they come 2 hours later? Oh, we got lost. That was 2 hours I had to rush around to get home, you know. So I really try and keep everything together as much as I can for that. I learned the hard way though. I mean, I was literally a slave to every adopter, every foster, and every volunteer. And that was from running from my house. And you know what? You can't live, it's not sustainable. I'm speaking to you.
I know. I know.
Any other questions? Yes.
I guess just in terms of a lot of times to help the needy dogs, it's all about funding money, raising money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we get our word out for pug rescue, but it's just any ideas for just getting sponsors, or because we do fairly well, but we're getting a lot of sick dogs right now, and our vet bills we get, you know, as
Pugs always too, you know, they've got all sorts of things.
But if an adoption fee is $300 and we're spending $3,000 on the dog.
Yeah. We do, I mean, it's the same for us. We never make money on adoption fees. It's just, we don't even think of those as really doing it. We spend about $1,600 average per dog. So you can imagine what that is if you're rescuing over 1,000 dogs. So, but no matter, I remember the days when I had to do it from my house and didn't have an in-house vet even. So it was a necessity to start fundraising right away. And I think having a really good database is the most important thing, and the best step that you can make is every single donation, whether it be $5, $25, and adding every foster to that database and every adopter to that database, and build your database is the most important thing that you can do. And from that, I know some people say it's so expensive to do. We make a lot of money from hard copy newsletters sending out to our people.
Do you have a preferred database system?
We're using something that's new to us, which we really like. It's called Virtuous. And Virtuous is really new, and we're loving it as a donor database. And we use PetPoint as our I think SPCA's pet point as well, as their doggy, cat, whatever, bunnies or birds, probably database. Because that has the foster and the medical stuff in there, whereas the donor database, Virtuous, has the other things that you need to know about a donor, like what their dog's name is, what their cat's name is, when their birthday is. You want all that stuff in the database, anything you can get about that person, so that you can personalize, an appeal to them, or send a specific email to them saying happy birthday, or hey, I know you love beagles, and guess what? We just got a beagle in, and things like that. Anything that you can do to help bring them into your family, they'll be there to support you.
Can you talk about your Hurricane Harvey flight? I mean, is that something that you could foresee doing more of those, or just one-off?
We did that twice. It is not, I have to say, that happened because I had a donor with a jet who wanted to help. Do I see that happening? I feel like right here in our own community and in California and in the Central Valley, we are disaster every day. Dogs are being killed. So it probably is not going to be Muttville's focus unless it is our community, like our North Bay. We're here to help Marin. We're here. All our vet staff is in Sonoma. They've been there since Friday working. I would prefer to, unless somebody else gives me a jet, I'm pretty much going to stay. We want to stay in California and really help, the disasters that are happening every day for animals.
What kind of special marketing do you do for special needs dogs?
Oh yeah, that's near and dear to my heart, because we have a lot of special needs dogs. I make it, I try and let an adopter that has interest feel like they're very special. So if I have an extremely shy dog, I will say this dog is looking for somebody very special, a very special family, or this, if you're a really loving, patient person, we'll give you this dog. It's almost like that. So I turn it around a little bit, so I make the whatever's wrong with the dog into something that it makes a special person to take that dog.
You have a question on that. Are there any sort of veterinary resources you're able to offer to the doctors, or support, veterinary support that you can offer to the doctors?
It depends on what it is. It really does. Sometimes we will help them. We'll set them up with different things like wheels and things like that for dogs, and have them work with a person to get them the wheels, and we will help with that. We also have our hospice program. So any dog that is, and it's really booming, just so you guys know, start a hospice program. It is not that expensive. We pay for palliative care for the family, but they actually adopt the dog. We used to call it fospice, but we changed that, and we changed that because they aren't fostering the dog. They are making life and death decisions for their dog. It's their dog. We're covering palliative care and basic wellness exams for that dog. Some of our hospice dogs end up all of a sudden getting pretty well because they're in a loving home and they're getting a lot of care, but they stay hospice. But we will cover, and we have a list, and that's in their a hospice manual, what we will cover. And it's up to $500 per, if you have a hospice dog and it's all of a sudden has bloody diarrhea that's out of control, well, we're still going to cover the cost of that at our vet. We actually set up an account with their vet. And so we're basically working with the same vets all the time. It has not cost us as much as you think it would, because we aren't covering major surgeries. So because of that, it seemed scary to begin with, because what if these dogs live and live and live? But really, if you're covering palliative care and you're just covering like basic things, it isn't that expensive if you've set it up with a specific vet. So we are getting dogs out that we couldn't adopt out normally. And we're committed to them. I mean, what are you going to do if you get a dog and you're committed to that dog and it's got cancer that's inoperable? So this has really been, and most of our hospice families, come again and again and again, even when they have children. The kids even they love that they get to do this for an animal, and it is a calling. I mean, it's not for everybody, but it's amazing how many people do it again and again and again.
So how do you find hospice families? Because I have 2 hospice dogs now that were supposed to live 6 months and we're now 29 months. And they're wonderful, loving, happy, so full of energy, act like puppies.
That's harder.
They're fun.
No, it's harder when they still act like puppies, and
Well, they're
because
not chewing and not
hospice.
puppies, but they're happy and active. And I still can't convince people that.
Where do you live?
Amador County, Jackson, Sutter Creek.
Oh yeah, I love you guys. I had a house out in Jackson.
Nice.
I like it out there. We take from the Amador County shelter, Jack and Barb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know them very well. They bring their dog Wrangler in.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Well, you told me that you met us. We've not had. In fact, when we put a dog on our hospice page, that dog will get a home more quickly than a dog on a regular adoption page. I don't know. We built that, and I'm happy to cross post for you on hospice dogs.
Thank you.
Because we have sort of, people know to come to us now if they want a hospice dog, and a lot of people like the fact that their dog's not going to live forever.
Short-term commitment.
I literally have people say, I want a dog that's not going to live past 6 months because we're planning this year-long trip in Europe. So, or I had one girl say, I'm going into the Peace Corps next year. I'm happy to hospice a dog. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people will want a dog that has a limited time.
And I don't mind doing it. However, then that limits me on the other dogs I can get.
Yeah, no, you got to move them
that are
out.
adoptable.
That's my whole thing. If you can't move them out, you can't save another. You've got to move them out. You got to move them out.
What do you do as far as behavioral rehab with dogs?
Depends on the dog. We do, our one requirement is that dogs must be people and dog friendly. So we work with shelters, we work with our partners back there like Lawrence, and everybody that works with us knows that we cannot take a dog with dog aggression. We have no cages, we're cage free. Of course, we have dogs that might not like each other, so we have separate rooms for those dogs, or really shy dogs that, as far as that sort of behavior, but we will not take aggression cases, like human or dog, like severe dog aggression. If we get one, we will stay committed unless that dog has a huge bite history, and that usually means 3 bites that have caused breakage of skin. And then we do euthanize for that. And we actually we're very transparent. We have that on our website. We have a euthanasia policy. It's the hardest thing in rescue because I have to sometimes make that decision. It is absolutely the hardest thing to do, and sometimes you have to do it for the sake of all the other animals that you're going to save.
Who decides? You said you decide.
I decide with a group.
Yeah, I was gonna say what group.
Our veterinarian, our veterinary staff actually is involved, and our director of operations and I am involved, and then our intake manager is also CPDT trained. She's a trainer, so we usually sit down and we talk. There's 5 of us. Yeah, and usually we do come to consensus, and then. If we have a foster home that absolutely wants to keep that dog, we make them sign a lot of paperwork. I mean, we have to. It's unfortunate, but for the sake of the rescue, we have to do that. Yes?
I want to ask you a question. I think it might be a little complicated or wordy, so hang on, get in there, but it just seems like folks have sort of a broad variety of questions. So out of curiosity, being situated where you are within the animal community, working particularly with seniors and with animals who have increased, particularly medical needs, can you speak at all to what your path was that led you there, as far as working through any cognitive dissonance you have regarding, seeing how many young animals still have so many needs in the communities, or any pressure that you face externally from the community, with regards to.
I have not had anybody not be happy with the path that we took 10 years ago. There's nobody that isn't happy to see that we're saving seniors. And at the time, about 25 years ago, I volunteered right here is this upstairs or is this floor? Upstairs. It was A and B kennels were upstairs. So I walked in that shelter 25 years ago, and I walked dogs. And the first dogs I walked were the old dogs that were dumped, and nobody adopted them. And I did not know that they were being euthanized. I mean, I was dull that way. And I'd come in one day and the dog wouldn't be there. I go, oh, it got adopted. No, it didn't. So I started right away. That was the need that I saw. I saw that need over years, and that's why I started taking dogs home. And at the time, there was not anybody addressing senior dogs. So that being said, we were one of like 4 organizations nationwide that were doing senior dogs. I mean, now I see the need for everything. There's always a need for everything, you know. I guess finding what you can work on and do and make an impact is what I was trying to do. Does that answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't sure what your,
that was it. I started taking them home, and I realized, you know what, people wanted to adopt them, you know, but they weren't ending up on the adoption floor a lot of times, or they weren't given the appropriate place to be shown in the light that they needed to be shown in.
We just want to say thanks to Sherri Franklin and the folks at the San Francisco SPCA for putting on a great event. If you'd like to learn more, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/146. All the music you hear on Paw Print is composed, performed, and produced by the amazing Luke Gartner-Brereton. You can find him at info.vanillagroovemedia.com. If you'd like to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, find us at This Is Paw Print. If you go to our Facebook page, you can find Sherri Franklin's talk on video. If you'd like to listen to more episodes of Paw Print, you can find us on your favorite podcast app, such as Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Search for Paw Print Animal Rescue, and make sure to hit the subscribe button to get the latest episodes immediately. We just want to say thank you to all of you for sharing Paw Print with your friends and family. We've now been listened to in over 130 countries and territories, and we couldn't have done it without your help. And remember, you spread a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time on Paw Print.
Is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth.